The rise and fall of John Gotti. The Teflon Don's bloody reign continues. I still remember the name echoing through New York streets, John Gotti. The man who strutted through Little Italy like a movie star. The kind of gangster who made crime look like art and danger feel like destiny. But before the world called him the Dapper Don, or the Teflon Don, he was just Johnny from the Bronx, a kid with nothing but rage, ambition, and a street to call home. He was born in 1940, in a cramped South Bronx apartment that smelled of sweat, poverty, and broken dreams. 13 children, one father who gambled more than he worked, and a mother who somehow kept the house together. That's the world that made John Gotti. By the time he was 12, he was already running errands for the mobsters at the Virgin Hunt and Fish Club, the kind of men who didn't talk much. But when they did, people listened. By 16, school was a memory. The streets had claimed him, hijacking trucks, stealing cars, doing small-time work that led to big-time problems. But the turning point came in the late 60 seconds when he met Aniello Della Croce, a man with a kind of cold authority that could silence a room. Della Croce saw something in Gotti. Loyalty, fearlessness, and the kind of charisma you can't teach. In 1975, Gotti became a made man after helping take down James McBratney, a rival who'd made the mistake of killing a Gambino's nephew. That one act sealed his fate. He wasn't just a street thug anymore, he was part of the Gambino family, the most powerful crime syndicate in America. Then came the change of power. When Carlo Gambino died in 1976, his cousin Paul Castellano took the throne. Castellano was different, polished, distant, obsessed with business more than blood. He ran his empire from a mansion on Staten Island, so grand they called it the White House. To men like Gotti, who'd earned his respect with fists and fear, Castellano's ways felt like betrayal. The streets were rumbling, and John Gotti was listening. By 1985, things came to a boil. Castellano suspected Gotti of running heroin deals, a death sentence under Gambino rules. Worse, the FBI was tightening the noose, raiding Gotti's club and recording whispers of mutiny. When Della Croce died that December, Gotti knew his time had come. And then the 16th of December, 1985. New York, early evening. The city pulsed with life, unaware that history was about to be rewritten. Outside Sparks Steakhouse, Paul Castellano stepped out of his car, and within seconds, the air exploded with gunfire. Castellano's body hit the pavement before he could draw a breath. Gotti sat in a car across the street, watching calmly. When the smoke cleared, he was the new king. From that moment on, the world knew his name. The papers called him the Dapper Don, the mob boss who wore $1,000 suits and smiled for the cameras. At the Ravenite Social Club in Little Italy, he ruled with both charm and iron. People adored him, the media idolized him, and the FBI couldn't touch him. Every time they tried, he slipped away, trial after trial, charge after charge. It was as if bullets and laws alike bounced right off him. But every empire has cracks, and Gotti's began with the man closest to him, Salvatore, Sammy the Bull, Gravano. The underboss, his brother in arms, the man who'd killed for him. When the feds finally wired the Ravenite Club, they caught Gotti's voice commanding, arrogant, damning. Sammy heard those tapes too, heard Gotti calling him Sammy the Rat before he'd ever flipped. And just like that, loyalty shattered. In 1992, Gravano took the stand. For 10 days, he told everything: the murders, the orders, the whispers in the dark. It was over. Gotti, once untouchable, was sentenced to life without parole. He spent his final years in a prison cell, the walls closing in as cancer silenced the man who once silenced everyone else. On the 10th of June 2002, John Gotti died, shackled to a hospital bed. No suits, no applause, no kingdom, just a whisper of the man who once ruled New York's underworld. Still, his shadow lingers. His funeral drew thousands. His name still sells movies, songs, and legends. Because John Gotti wasn't just a gangster, he was America's last public don, the man who turned organized crime into spectacle. And as Sammy the Bull once said, He wanted to be somebody. He became somebody. Then he became a ghost. Watch. More crime history. Don't miss anything. Don't forget to subscribe.